Well, hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Purple Door Podcast, a Friends Rewatch Pod. I'm one of your hosts, Alistair, alongside my good friend DeeAnn. DeeAnn, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Al. Doing great. End of the school year. Summer is here. I'm. It's exciting, good stuff. I'm ready to swim.
Absolutely. Yet we're about to enter the summer season. The heat will be ridiculous, and we all hate it, but it does mean we can swim in the pool and
Yes.
and that kind of thing. But yeah, we've got the last I've got a week left of the school year. I'll be doing some teaching and some other things in the summer. DM, what's yours sort of end of the school year looking like?
Yeah, I won't be done till our kids will be done, but right
Hmm.
after Memorial Day. But then I've got a couple more weeks, and then
Right.
I've got a couple of weeks of this stuff here at the house, and then me and my dad are going to Italy, and that's going to be so cool.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
That one exciting trip. When do you guys
Yeah,
go?
I am pumped. Right after the 4th of July. And then we'll go for 10
Fantastic.
days. Yeah, and he made sure this week we got our final itinerary, and the Vatican was not on there. And that was one of the big things, to see the Sistine Chapel and all the things.
Right.
And so he made sure that that was on our itinerary. So now we've got our final itinerary. It's very exciting. It's going to be
That's
great.
right.
I'm
I love it. Yeah,
excited.
I'd forgotten about that you were going. Very excited for both of you. We'll need to send you with some Purple Door podcast stickers just to,
Ooh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, just to stick or hold
Yeah.
up in front of
Drop them off
somewhere
at the
cool.
Coliseum.
That's
Be like,
right.
what up?
That's right. I love it. Well, today we are going to get stuck into the one with the ick factor. I said on last week's episode, I'd forgotten what this one was until I looked at a couple of pictures and it all came screaming back in a very icky way. So we're looking forward to get
Oh,
stuck into that, but not before our famous game of Bamboozled, of course. So
woo,
let's
woo,
get
woo.
into that. I think I've got a
Okay, I
decent
only
amount of
have
questions.
7 questions.
All right, so I've got 9. So let me think
You
about, is
go
it
first.
if I go first?
Mm-hmm.
But then I might get rid of some of your questions because if I say a
I'm not
question,
scared.
you're not
I
scared. I
am not
like it.
scared.
You are
I'm
like
not scared.
Monica in last week's episode. You're just going for it.
I'm
I like it.
inspired. I'm inspired.
Inspired
I'm
by
just going to go for it.
Manana. I love it. All right, well,
But
let's
I'm not
start
going
off.
to steal anybody's credit card, so don't worry.
Okay, good to know. We appreciate it. In this episode, we find out how old Monica is. How old is she?
She is 25 and 13 months,
She is
which is
indeed,
26.
which is
Mm-hmm.
26. So obviously I'm a teacher. We've discussed that, but the old maths, depending where you're listening from, is not always my strong suit. So I was trying to work out if there was any way she wasn't 26, like if she just turned 25, or if she was turning 26 in a couple of days, and she said 25 and 13 months. I don't think there is. I was overthinking
No,
this. No. Right. She's
no.
definitely just 26, and there's no way of her being anything else.
Yes. And I think she even said it that way because she didn't just have her birthday.
Right.
She
That's
was,
kind of my
I,
assumption.
that's why she said it the way she said it, I
Right.
think.
Yeah,
And 26
sometimes.
sounds so much older than 25 because, it's over that hump. Just
Right.
like, 41 sounds older than 40 and all of
Right.
that. I mean, because technically it is, but still,
There's some
there's
ages do sound worse than other ones.
you got it. Like,
Yes.
and people who are rude and say late 40s, and that's just rude. And
Yeah, we don't need
apparently
any
that
of that.
starts right. Who needs that negativity? Not me.
I don't.
All right. So, Al,
Yes.
what is? Oh, did okay? Did you just change camera angles or something? What just happened?
I leaned over for a minute and then came back, if that was it.
Never
I mean, it's
mind.
always
Okay.
possible. It's
Well,
always
I'm
possible.
looking at my book, and that was the corner of my eye, and I was like, "What
Ah.
just happened? You're so fancy over there with your setup."
That's right.
All right. So what's on the coffee table in the coffee house? There's one piece of uh, things on there that stood out to me, but I've got a list of three. But just if you get any of it, well, no, you got to get at least two. But there's
Alright.
one thing on there that I was like, that's different than what you would see in a coffee house today.
Alright. Well, I don't think I caught any of them, to be
Mm.
honest. So,
Okay,
I'm trying
well,
to play off that hint you gave that you wouldn't see it in a coffee house today. An ashtray.
that's correct.
Okay, what else might you not see?
No, everything else you would see.
Okay,
The
that's
ashtray was the one thing that kind of stood out. The other two are just like, yeah, that
alright, I don't know. I don't know the other
coffee
2.
mug and magazines.
Alright, alright. Yeah, the ashtray, I think we've talked about that. When did we talk about that? I think, like, when it became illegal in New York to smoke indoors,
Oh yeah,
didn't
we
we?
did. We
Yeah,
had a whole
which, I mean, still, I mean, we've talked about this too. I certainly enjoy my 90s sitcoms, and it's so weird to still see people smoking inside. Um, Such a strange thing. All right, my question for you, this might be a bit unfair, but I ran these questions by Kate before we recorded, and she got it. So when Phoebe is in Chandler's office, and when she answers the phone, we can see Chandler's screensaver. What is it?
I that's my number two
Oh, there
question.
you go.
It's fish swimming.
It is fish swimming. I thought that was going to be unfair, but both you and Kate
I
got that
thought it was
straight away.
unfair too.
That's fantastic.
All right. So, what two things does Phoebe play with in that scene?
Does she play with a magic 8 ball?
Yes.
Okay. The only other thing I remember is she takes an earring off, but that doesn't count. I'm trying to think.
Mm-mm.
I'm just going to guess a pen.
No, it's a staple remover. And she's like going
Yes.
one
Yes.
of those. I don't care for those staple removers. I like the ones where you just shoop.
The slide, 100%. The
Yes.
the the clippy ones like a crocodile, I end
I
up
would
ripping the
rip
paper.
paper.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. No, the
Yes.
sliding under one is the way forward. That's the way civilized.
100%.
Yeah.
The best one I ever got was from Datku. This is my favorite one.
I got one from my mentor teacher back in the day, and so
Uh-huh.
it's very old, but I actually taped it back together recently because it started to fall apart, and I was like,
Ah,
"No, this one has served me well," so I wrapped some tape around it, and it's still going strong.
nice.
So
Good
it's still
job.
going. Alright, what did Monica make for Ethan for dinner?
Lasagna.
Lasagna, that's
Because
it.
yeah, whenever she's messing around, the fish, nope, because I made lasagna. Yep.
Yep, that was it.
All right. Now, you did mention about Monica's age.
Yes.
So, here, this one's a little complicated.
I
Okay.
like it. I have my
All
pen and paper at the ready.
right, perfect. Okay, so what was Monica and young Ethan's actual age difference? And what did each of them think it was?
Okay. So we know Monica's 26. Now, I know Ethan declares or, admits that he's a senior in high school, which
Mhm.
puts him at 17 or 18.
Mhm.
Now, I don't remember him saying specifically, but
He
Monica,
does.
he does. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think because Monica panics about being a felon in 48 states, then he must be 17.
Mhm.
Okay, because 18.
Nice. Very
All right.
good.
So now, so that's a difference of 9 years. But
Okay.
what was the exact
But the
question you
second
asked me?
question was is what did each of them think the age difference was?
Okay, so I feel like I'm
because
piecing this
Monica
together.
told him something,
She's
so he
22.
knew. Uh-huh.
She thought, and she thought he was a senior in college, which would put him at roughly the same age.
Mhm.
So, but she does say oh no, she says he's senior in college. I think the age difference, if they're both lying, there is no age difference. That's what I'm
No,
going.
but what did they think? Because
Oh,
you're well, anyway, I think
oh no,
it's
I see
too
what you're saying.
complicated.
No, no, I see what you're saying because he knew he was 17.
He knows he's
So
17.
5 years.
Right. Yes.
5 years.
And
Okay.
then the fact that she's got wine there and is giving and they're drinking wine, she's assuming he's 21. So
That's
she's thinking
right.
it's a 5-year age gap as well.
This is a next level question. This is why you're on the
I
podcast. I love that. That's a great question because that took some
Yeah,
thinking.
so they were both okay with a 5-year difference, but 9 absolutely
Nine
not.
crosses the line. The line's hovering between 7 and 8, I guess.
Ugh.
Interesting. All right, I love that question. Might be my favorite one of this season so far. Um, Monica.
Hey, and we're
Oh,
getting close to the end, so I feel good.
right. You and I will discuss off the air at some point. We have 2 episodes left before the end of the season.
Mhm.
Very excited about that. Monica has a huge picture of what above her bed? It's not.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one that I don't think is there for long.
Is it a flower?
You got it correct. It is
Whoa! That was
sunflowers,
a
and
total guess.
it says sunflowers across the bottom, and then this big sunflower or sunflowers, and then like a tractor or a lawnmower or something else in there. But sunflowers is the answer we
All
were looking
right.
for.
Nice.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. What brand outfit is Monica wearing when she's talking to the group about Ethan and they're talking about Power Rangers?
You know, my next question is that scene, but I did not notice. So I'm gonna go with Abercrombie and is it Fitch? Fitch.
That it is actually Nike.
Ah,
She's
didn't
got
see it.
the big old Nike swoosh right across her chest.
Nice. Didn't notice it. But in that scene, I am 99% sure I've got this answer correct, but I may have one word wrong. So, what does Joey want Monica? Oh no, it might be a different scene. What does Joey want Monica to ask Ethan next time he stops by?
Who's the most powerful Power Ranger?
Okay, I'd written down who's the best Power Ranger, but powerful it is.
Oh, it might
Yeah,
not be powerful. I
yeah.
that's just
You get the
what I
point.
have
You
in my
get the point.
brain.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. All
Right.
right. All right. So why does everybody at work hate Chandler?
Because he's the boss man, the boss bang bing, boss man bing, whatever it is.
Very good.
Yes. Yeah, they liked him before. Um, what new item is allegedly in the bathrooms at Central Park?
Hand dryers.
Hand dryers it is.
Yes.
I love it. All right, just so you know, I've got 3 more.
Okay, and I have one. But I want all of yours. So it's ask another one, and then I'll ask one, and then you can ask.
Okay.
Okay.
This one I will thank Kate for the answer. She caught this. What show does Rachel fall asleep to when she has a dream about Ross? You just hear it for a couple of seconds. If you know what it is, it's quite distinctive.
No,
No?
I don't. I
I think if you just use like a context clue of what Rachel is doing and the time of day, you might get this. It's a very it's not a complicated answer in the sense it's a popular show.
is it the news?
It's not the news. I'm just going to give you one more shot, a little more specific. She's falling asleep at nighttime.
Saturday Night Live?
Oh no, but it was the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Dang! Okay.
Yeah, on every
Wow.
night.
There
Yeah,
you go, Kate.
Kate caught it.
Wow.
She knows that. I wouldn't have known that, but she was like, "If you know it, you'll know it." All right,
Wow.
your question.
Okay. So, what's everybody doing that's slowing down getting gone for the hospital at the end of the episode? Like
Oh,
everybody is
okay.
doing something, which I feel like is a flash forward to just whenever everybody's getting ready or where nobody's
Yes,
ready. That episode,
yes,
because it's like Ross is ready to go, and everybody has
yes.
got other things.
A little, just gonna put this out there that episode, the one where nobody's ready, we will have at least one, probably a couple of extra co-hosts. That
I
is
can't wait.
a very popular episode, and people have reached out about that one. Um, so this is the difference between you and I love this because my next question is, what does Joey bring to the hospital in the final scene? I played it too easy, and I love what you've done here. So Joey is his massive sandwich.
Yes, for the
So
taxi
we,
ride. Mhm.
yeah, I
Yes.
mean, yeah, you could get hungry, and that thing is a beast. That thing is.
Yeah, it
So
is.
so I'm going to write all of this down. So let's see: Joey, Chandler, Monica, Rachel, Joey, Ross is obviously there, and then Phoebe. All right, I've got to try and replay this in my head. This is a great question. All right, man, what were they doing? Because I know Monica goes for a run, which I've got a question about, but I think she's
Nope, she's
already
already
back.
back and
She's already
not.
done with that.
Yeah.
Oh, Rachel's putting on makeup or something because there might be cute doctors, right?
That's right. She's putting on her
Okay.
lipstick and yeah.
All right. So we got Joey. We have Rachel. What was Chandler doing? What was Monica
And
doing?
he was the first
Oh,
one that was ready to go.
there was
Huh?
Monica. Was she crying?
Yeah,
Did that
she's like
delay her?
having a whole.
Okay.
I heard the funniest thing yesterday. Haley called it a minty bee, like a mental breakdown, a minty bee.
And meant to be. I
But
like
yeah,
it.
yeah,
All right.
that cracked
We're
me
going to
up.
use
But
that one. Menti B.
yes, so yes.
What is Phoebe? I think Phoebe and Chandler are going to stump me. I think those are the two. I can't remember. What do we have for
Okay, hang
those
on.
two?
Well,
Yeah.
geez. Hold please. Because
Yes.
Chandler comes out and he's just dancing around. He's just dancing, and
He's just
he's like, "Oh my
dancing.
god,
Yeah.
yes."
And then the last one
I
would
don't
be
think was
Phoebe.
Phoebe even there. I
She
didn't
might
write
not
down
have been.
anything for Phoebe.
Okay.
I don't think she was
Okay.
there. But
Okay.
remember, he comes out and he starts making a joke and he's dancing around. Chairs like, oh, and Ross is like, "Oh my god, can we just leave?"
That's
And
right.
then
Yes.
Rachel comes out and
Yes.
she's putting on her lipstick, and he's like, "No, let's go." And then
You're
Joey
right.
comes out with the sandwich, and then Monica comes out and she's crying, and then they all go to leave, and then Ross just stops, and I love that that little
Yes.
clip right there
Look,
where
because
he's
it
just
could have
like,
finished with them walking down the stairs, and we wouldn't have thought anything of it. But you're right.
right,
It was a great decision to have that last
yes,
little bit in there.
yeah. Oh
I've got
yeah, no,
one
Phoebe
last.
wasn't even there.
She
Sorry.
wasn't there. Okay, good. That's good. I've got one final question, and this may be very unfair.
Okay,
It just occurred to me after I watched this. How could this episode be a slight foreshadowing for Courtney Cox's career? Yeah, there's something in Courtney Cox's career post Friends that could hark back to this. And this is a kind of surface level question. There might be somebody who knows more about this than me.
does it have to do with the age difference with the younger guy?
Yes, yes, it does.
How old is David Arquette? Is David Arquette much younger than her?
That I don't know, but, think more about it's fictional.
Oh, was she in something?
She starred in a show called Cougar Town.
Oh, that's right.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yes, I remember that. I never
Yeah, I
watched
don't
it
know if
though.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but, I mean,
No.
the title kind of explains itself, I think.
Mhm.
So that's that. Do you have I'm out of questions. Do you have any more for
Yeah.
me?
No, no,
No?
no.
Alright.
Nothing.
Well, let's crack on with this. Let's see. We start in with the one with the ick factor. We're in Central Park, and Rachel's had a dream about her and Chandler getting up to no good on the Central Park table. And Ross is perturbed. He's put out. He is not a happy camper at this
Yes.
point.
But it
Um,
made me laugh whenever he's just like, "How could you?" And
right.
Chandler's like, "Well, I was very drunk and in somebody else's
That's
spot."
right.
It's
Yeah.
so funny.
He
But
handles
yeah,
Ross very well, I think.
yes, yes. And then
Yes.
Chandler sitting on the coffee table whenever we cut to the next scene.
Yes, kind of provocatively lying across it.
And
Like,
that ashtray has been moved over. The
right?
gigantic ashtray.
I will need to have a look at that without a doubt because
Yes.
I didn't catch that. Um, but Phoebe comes in. She's looking at it's a self-imposed need for short-term work. She taught all of her
Mhm.
clients how to massage themselves at home, and it's kind of backfired. Um, so Joey immediately suggests that she goes to work for Chandler, and Chandler immediately, no, that's not a good idea, but can't say anything. He's certainly not thrilled with it.
No.
Um, but let's see, Ross got a beeper. Did you ever have a beeper?
No, that was just
No.
for drug dealers.
Oh, was
Just kidding.
it?
I'm just kidding. That was
Right.
the like, you know, I don't know. That's what my mom's impression of them was, and that's just drug dealers had those, but
That's so
not
funny.
the truth, of course. No offense to anybody who is not a drug dealer that had a beeper.
Right. Or if you were a drug dealer that had a beeper, I don't know, a
I
policy
don't
sweep or
know.
something, I don't know.
I mean, was that not like a stereotype or anything? No, no.
No, no,
Maybe
it
just
wasn't.
in the little town I grew up in. I don't know.
Might be. Yeah, I think I didn't write this down. I think I remember Googling this a while ago. I can't remember why. But pagers are still alive and well, but it's in the medical profession, and it's something to do with the signal in hospitals. Like it's
Oh,
you could that's why doctors and stuff still carry them to this day, because it's easier to get a message through to them to rather than a cell phone.
mm,
Something like that. I need to Google it more because I think I just looked up to do pagers still exist, and very much so in hospitals with doctors and nurses and things. So
interesting.
a complete sidetrack. But
Which
um,
kind of drug dealers? No,
yeah,
just
it's
kidding.
sort of
Kidding. Just
legal
sorry.
prescribed. That's it. But Ross got one, so Carol can reach him anywhere.
Yes,
Do you remember his pager number?
a 5-5 Jimbo,
That's right,
not to be
600.
confused with 5-5 Jumbo, which is
That's right.
funny because it's a 555 number.
You know what? I wrote down 55 Jimbo, and I was just trying to do it in my head if the J corresponded with the 5.
Yes,
Yeah,
because and that's so funny because on TV and everything they always used to use 555
right.
because it wasn't a real number.
Yeah,
Yep.
I assume they still do that. I haven't really paid attention, of course, but um, if they still use that as the default, just a 555 number.
I'm
Um,
curious too
yeah, I assume they do.
because now everybody has the area codes in front instead of just
That's
having
right.
the 7, I don't know.
Yeah, the first 3 of the 7 were always 555, but yeah, no, I might Google that when we're finished recording. In Chandler's office, Phoebe is up there. Practices with the phone.
Oh,
Um,
wait.
oh,
We
what have I
missed
missed?
like the whole thing. Like whenever we first find out about young Ethan. whenever Monica's going to see young Ethan.
That's right.
And then
That's right.
she's
Yes,
like,
I
"He's
skipped over that.
smart, he's mature, he's grown up." And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's oh, what did he say? He's a big boy."
Right. I wonder I
Yeah.
need to go back and check. I wonder if a bit of that was cut.
Oh,
Uh, could be. I'll check.
maybe. And then whenever she's like, um, he's a senior in college, and then she's like, "And what does he think about your age?" And she's like, "He knows
Yeah.
your age when you were."
But that was in there. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But that was funny because we kind of get introduced to the fact that they're teasing her because she is dating a younger guy, the
I was
senior.
gonna ask you this later on, but do we find out how Monica and Ethan met? Is it addressed anywhere?
Mm-mm.
Because I want, like, I don't know.
How does that happen?
I assume it was just like a sort of on the subway, or they weren't at the same destination together. Because where would they both be hanging out? They wouldn't both be at a concert, a bar, a coffee shop, things necessarily. So
Right.
yeah, I didn't think it was addressed, but wanted to check with you in case I had missed that.
Yeah. No, I have no idea.
Right. Well, yeah, we bounce over to Chandler's office. I saw like a meme about Chandler's office a few weeks ago, and it stuck with me. Um, how successful really is he to be 26 and have an office like that in Manhattan? Like, he must
Right?
be doing really well.
Yes.
That's a lot of square footage um, for one guy to have. So I thought that it just kind of occurred to me when I saw this scene. I remember seeing something about that. But
Yeah.
she puts on a fake voice when she answers the phone. It's very,
Takes
very
off
funny.
her earrings and
Yes.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And it ends up just being Ross, of course, but very, very well done by Phoebe. Even I like the way she's sitting on the desk and all of that.
Mhm.
She's kind of owning the space a bit, which I think is really, really good.
Yes.
Um,
And her outfit is so interesting. With
right?
her lacy collar and the long sleeves. It's a very receptionist, stereotypical receptionist, but not like anything that we've actually seen them really wearing. So
Right.
I love it. She was playing a part, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like she got dressed up. What does a
Yeah.
receptionist look like? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we go back to the girl's apartment. Monica's very nervous. She wants to change her belt. It's too tight. She thinks she's made salmon when it was a fish, and then it's actually made lasagna. Um,
Yeah.
Very, very nervous. And then Rachel kind of clocks that the reason she must be nervous is Monica might be wanting to take the relationship to the next level. Um, she's even shaved her legs. I mean,
Oh.
she's out of control at this point, is Monica. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cute to see Monica like that, but we haven't seen that side of her. I don't know, that really nervousness about a date.
Mhm.
Like, she must really like this guy. Um, it's just a shame it's kind of got the foundation of both of them lying, which
Yeah.
really doesn't help the situation. Um,
Correct.
but let's see. Yeah, so we back at Central Park, and Ross's beeper goes off, and I think I remember rightly, he kind of jumps out of his chair.
Mhm.
But this was, I think, was it the third person who is called 55 Jumbo?
Yes,
Um,
trying to get
but
a hold of Andre.
that's right. And is this the scene? I love the line where he goes, "Judging by his number, I'd be a huge disappointment," or something.
Yes. Yes.
I just like that line. I think that's very, very funny. Um, but let's see. Phoebe and Chandler come in. Phoebe's had a fantastic first day. She's really enjoyed it, but then I think this is the point where she breaks the news to Chandler that nobody likes him.
Yeah.
Um,
And she's like, except for that, no, no, it's
that's right.
nobody.
It's nobody. Nobody at all. Yes, because was a yes. He's the boss man Bing. I think she says. I love the way that's delivered. That it's
Yes.
it's so good. She is fitting right in.
And
Um,
then they just all start picking on poor Chandler.
yeah, because he's really done nothing wrong. He's just got a promotion, like, that's it.
Yes.
Um, but they kind of yeah, suddenly he's the boss man, and, people are not gonna be as friendly with him, which is a shame.
And they're
Uh,
picking, and that's the thing, man, is they're picking on things about him that are actually the things that make him enjoyable to be around.
yes,
You know? And
absolutely, yes.
then his friends just jump right in and start teasing him about it, you know?
Yeah,
The could these reports be any later?
that's
And
right.
whenever he's like, the hills are alive with the sound of music
That's right.
and all of that. It was cracking me up. But
Yeah, and
I
Chandler
I
going,
felt
"That's so
bad.
not true."
Yeah, I felt bad for Chandler there though, because it's tough whenever people don't like you.
Yeah, he got his feelings hurt, and for
Yeah,
they don't like him for no real reason. So,
yeah.
yeah, I've got a lot of sympathy for Chandler in much of this episode, which we'll certainly get to. Um, but let's see. We end up back at the girls' apartment, and Ethan and Monica are on the couch. And I kind of like this story about gunpoint.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like naive and sweet, and yet kind of understandable. And it feels like something any of us
Yeah.
could have done at kid with when we were kids.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
like it makes
Absolutely.
logical
And
sense.
it does. And the gunpoint, why would anybody ever go there? And it's like, okay, well, not like, but frontage road. Whenever you're
Right.
driving down the highway
Yes.
and you see the
Yes.
exit for, whatever number, frontage road. I
Right.
always thought that it was so weird that there were so many
There
frontage
you go.
roads all over the country. Like they were everywhere, like Main Street, you know?
That's
And then I
fantastic.
found out that frontage road was actually a thing. It's
Yes.
not the
A
name.
noun in itself, not a proper noun. That's again,
Yeah.
now that you explain it like that, that's completely understandable. And like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm sure lots of people have done that
Yes.
and not
With
realized.
gunpoint being an actual place. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I kinda love it. And
oh.
they do appear at this point like quite a sweet couple, like they kind of, they're smitten and um, but they kiss, and then she invites him to stay over to spend the night, and he reveals that he's a virgin. This would be the first time that he would be doing that.
Well,
Um,
and I thought it was funny whenever he was like, "Well, I need to share something with you." And she's like, "Is this something like you have an early class in the
that's
morning,
right.
or you're secretly married to a goat?" And he's like,
That's
"Somewhere
right.
in between."
In between. That's right.
So
Yeah.
that made me laugh.
Yeah. The next scene is it's quite funny. Like Ethan, um, I forget the actor's name. He's passed away, unfortunately. But I think he
Oh, I
does a
didn't
great
know
job.
that.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
yeah, passed away a couple of years ago. But I think he does a great job acting, all in all. But I think this scene to me is one of his shining points where he's like, just man, oh man, he's kind of rolling around in the bed and kind of freaking out with excitement.
mhm.
Um, but that's when they decide to reveal, I think at this point, isn't it, their true ages to each other.
Well, yeah, but which was wild to me because like he shares that with her and then she waits till after and she's like, you shared something with me, so I'll share something with you.
Right.
Which I'm like, ugh, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he is like, okay, well now you've shared something else, so I'll share with you. and
Yeah.
then and then her line about shiny guys named Chad.
Right. Right. That's a
That
great
which
line.
there you go. There's your what preview or whatever to Cougar Town.
Right. See, that's it. This is again not watched Cougar Town. I'm assuming that that's what it's all about. But I find it. No, of course, it's just Icky is a very well named episode. I found it a
Yeah.
little funny that she kinda goes that she'd be a felon in 48 states. Like, how does she know that? And how does she know there's 2 that she wouldn't be? But I'm just nitpicking, it's a TV show at that point. Like, where did she get the number 48 from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not all 50? That's my
Why not all
question.
50? Yeah. I do love
Yeah.
the bit about going, "Oh my god, I'm Joan Collins."
Yes, and then he says who?
Who?
And then
Like,
whenever she's like, you weren't even alive during the bicentennial, which
right.
uh, Fred came in, my 17-year-old son came
Mhm.
in during that scene whenever she's like, and he's like the bicentennial, and I'm like, yeah, exactly, like
Right. Right.
exactly, baby,
Yes,
baby. But that
little
was such a
ones.
big deal, you know. That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
it
funny.
just I think they both actors in this scene play it really well, and they make it very
Okay,
funny. Yeah.
hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Do you know what the bicentennial is? Do you know what that was?
Wouldn't that be 1976? No.
Wait,
Thinking 200 years from
by
1776 was my guess.
hang on, because
Yeah.
I know I was alive because I remember because there was a covered wagon that went across and we drove to go see it
Right.
because it was a big deal and we got a quarter for it and everything else. So now I'm feeling dumb
Well, you don't feel dumb, I'm sure. Yeah, I
because
mean,
yeah, it's
bicentennial's got to be 200 years.
yeah, 200 years, and I would think it would be from 1776, which would have made it 1996, but he was alive.
Would
So,
be it'd be 1976.
oh, 1976.
Yeah, 1776 to 1976 would be the
Okay.
bicentennial.
Well, then wait. Then what am I thinking of? Because I was not alive in 1976.
Right.
So what am I thinking about?
I just double checked. I was typing away here. Texas's bicentennial has not happened yet. Um,
Okay.
you're gonna have to call your dad or something, and
Yeah, I'm going to have to call and find out what was that covered wagon and why do I remember the quarter coming out and all of that.
right. Listeners
Okay,
will get back to you
to
about
be
that
fine.
one.
Yeah,
Yes.
to be revisited later about the bicentennial.
It's got to be
What am I
something else.
confused with? What am
Um,
I confused about?
yeah. Yeah, it just that scene full of really, really funny moments. We end up in the girl's apartment still, but we're not in Monica's bedroom. Ross is kind of giving up saying that he isn't Andre, and he's just like taking bookings, making arrangements. Um,
Okay, and then
yeah,
one of the lines that I just saw that was cut out, but he's like, "I'll be there in 45 minutes," and he goes, "Yes, the kimonos are extra." What are you talking
what
about?
is he doing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of nuts. I wanted to ask you. So Monica comes in for a run, and the thing that stood out for me, and again, this is a bit of nostalgia. She has a massive Walkman um, on her,
and her Nike outfit.
and another Nike outfit. All right, as we discussed last episode, I'm going to keep an eye out for that. But I had two thoughts. One was, she's wearing I can't what the name of the materials, it's spandex or lycra, whatever it is, the kind of stretchy stuff. If you're running with a Walkman just on the waist of that, that seems like it wouldn't stay on to me.
No, it
Would it?
would.
It would.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never done it.
Well, because
Yeah.
the clip that it would clip on, like
Yes.
it's tight, and so because it's
Okay.
tight up against her skin, it's not gonna go. It might, and it wasn't a Discman, so it's not gonna be skipping or anything. She is good.
Okay. Well, on the
Mm.
Discman note, I wanted to ask you, just take me on a very brief journey through your musical playing apparatus. Like from the very beginning, like did you have like a record player in the house? Did you ever have a Walkman, a
Oh,
Discman, an MP3 player, like anything that stands out to you in
okay.
that genre.
Okay. Yes. So, we had record player. We
Mhm.
in our house in the front room, and we had a huge collection of records that I was not allowed to touch until I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10. Like, you
Right.
don't touch because you can scratch. And oh
Yes.
man. And then whenever I was like 13, I got a stereo in my room, and it was so fancy because it had the record
Nice.
player
Yes.
and the double tape players. So you could record, off of the radio, or you could
Wow.
record off of each other, so you could like play the tape and then cut out the commercials and things like that. So that was
You are
awesome.
living
I
large with
was
your
that was
fancy tape player.
my birthday present one year, and like, yeah, I was so pumped. And and then, yeah, I'm sure I had a Walkman with the tapes. And then in my car, I was so fancy because I had the car Discman where you put the tape into the tape player, and then it would
Mhm.
play your CDs
Yes.
through the
Yes.
tape, through the radio. That was so fancy, but it skipped all the time, and so that was annoying.
Yeah, it
Even
was
though
great in theory.
said it clearly said anti-skip on the
Yeah.
actual CD player, but it still skipped out.
A bunch of charlatans, liars. Yeah, it skipped.
Yes. And then I had a little iPod mini.
Mhm.
That was fun. It was green. It was so cute. Yep. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, there you
We all
go.
end up with iPhones and all of our music's on
Yeah.
there.
And music is everywhere now. And
Yeah.
totally accessible. And and then of course, burning the CD is from the illegal download. I of course would never.
No.
But Napster was really, really cool.
Napster was awesome. I'm so glad that we both lived in the time when Napster was a thing.
Yes.
Leaving that to, like, download an album overnight and that kinda stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And oh, there was a concert that came through, and I went with my cousin Christopher, and it was so cool. It was like Cypress Hill and Limp Bizkit, and I can't remember who else, but like we waited in line outside forever to get in, but it was like the Napster, like, and it was all free, and it was awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see, so I've sort of lost track of my notes. Yeah, so Monica comes in and she announces that she's broken up with Ethan, I think at that point. But then Phoebe comes in. No, Phoebe announces she's going to the work party. Excuse me. With work people, but
Okay,
Chandler's not invited. Is that right? Is that
but wait. Before that, you brought it up in Bamboozled, and we've got to talk about it.
okay?
Were you a fan of Power Rangers? Did you know anything about Power Rangers?
They were a thing, but I was never a fan of them. I don't know if it was just not quite the right time of my life for them to be, excuse me, like marketed to me. I don't quite
Yeah.
recall, but I knew who they were. Certainly,
Okay.
the
Okay.
mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right?
You,
I
yes,
think.
you got it.
Yes,
See,
yeah,
and now
yeah.
that I'm thinking about, because are you the youngest?
Yes, I've got two older sisters.
Okay. See, and I'm the oldest, and so I had my little brother and then my little cousin, and all of that. And they were super into Power Rangers. And so I knew all about it, but it was probably because of them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
because
well, just
whenever the movie came out, it was a big deal around our family. So,
oh, so I've got the hiccups all of a sudden. This will make for a good podcast.
oh,
I remember it
super
being just
party.
I think I just remember that being on the TV, but I couldn't have told you anything about it. I don't
Yeah.
excuse me, I don't think. Um,
Okay.
let's see. Yeah, gonna have to think this one through. Because it all just rings a bell. I can hear the theme song. So I don't know. Maybe I did watch it and I've just forgotten. But let's see. Yeah, Phoebe and Chandler, they debrief about the no. Phoebe's going to go to the party. That's right, with these work people, but Chandler's just not invited. Which
Yeah.
I wonder how long Phoebe's really been there at this point, to get invited to the party. I mean, I suppose you might invite somebody straight away, but
Especially if it's Phoebe.
yeah, she's a
Y-
people person. Um,
Yeah, she's a people person and she's bored. So she has been, hi, Kate.
DeeAnn says hi. We're recording.
But
It says hi.
she good. But yeah, she's bored, so she, I guarantee, has networked in a fast time.
Right. Sorry, I got slightly distracted there. Kate's getting a glass of water for me so people don't have to listen to me hiccuping for the rest of this episode because it's like stuck in there. Goodness me. Sorry. Sorry, guys. She's being super helpful. And now I'm all over the place. I'm discombobulated. I just lost my sheets.
Oh,
So if I've got them back now in my little notes. Yep. So we immediately go from Chandler not being invited to them debriefing in Chandler's office. Um, I can't remember what he did, but he did something that made him think it went well. Um,
he sang Ebony and Ivory with
that's
Tracy.
it. That's it.
And then right before, and I think it might have been cut out of yours, but like that scene opens with him throwing a football and telling somebody, go long. And then he throws the football to one of the other employees. And then he shuts the door and then they start talking about
Yep.
the
I'm going to be
about
hiccuping for the rest of the episode. That's it. Ah. Yeah, that
uh,
that bit is definitely cut out. We don't see him throwing a football out the door. Um, let's see. But yeah, they just don't like him. There's nothing Chandler could do. He's the boss. There's nothing that he can do about that. So I think he just has to accept and then embrace all of this, which he kind of does at the end. Ross, we go back over to Central Park. Ross has come up with a new system for Carol calling him. Um,
yes, the 911.
the night when what was that a done thing? Like, I mean, it
No,
kind
that was the code you put in if you needed somebody to call you right then.
of
And
okay.
then like I had friends that would send like 143 for a I love you. And then like different people had different codes for different things.
Oh, there's a whole like paging acronym, and then we've gone back to text messages with that kind of thing
Yep.
decades later. I suppose that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nathan, let's see. Ross, and I do quite like this line. Ross thinks that his cousin Nathan called for Jumbo, and what does he say? Like, I think I found out more than I need to know, or something like that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I wish I'd written it down, but I really like Ross's delivery of that line. Um, so Ethan shows up and he tries to convince Monica, for them to stay together. And is this the right scene where he kind of goes, I'm your congressman, I'm married with kids or something? And again,
Yes,
I just
yes,
think
I'm
he's a good actor.
30.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I think he plays this character really, really well. And then the only thing that
Yes.
really bugs me, and I think perhaps I'm a little overly sensitive to this and just don't like it, but when she's going to say something like she could see herself falling in love with him, he like grabs her face. And I guess for like comedy effect because then it kind of squeezes her cheeks together and she kind of
But
mumbles
that's
it.
exactly what she did to him whenever he said it to her.
Say again. Oh, she squeezes his cheeks, is it?
Yeah,
Or who?
she squeezed his cheeks like whenever they were back in her apartment and he was
Oh, back
taught
in
and they
that
had just
scene.
showed and she was freaking
That's right.
out. she squeezed his cheeks. So then that was a throwback to that,
Two
where
different
she's
scenes.
saying the
Right.
same thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, Kate's sitting over here and she is working away and she was talking about the scene you were talking about. So it's nice. Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I don't know. To me, that always just seems like, don't do that to somebody else. Um,
Right.
but, you know, like,
Right. Absolutely. That's
in
just
what,
a personal space thing.
yeah, that's exactly in what situation could you and I, for example, be sitting talking in a public place or anywhere else, and would that kind of behavior be acceptable between it? Like, it just, yeah, I just find it a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's what it is. It's a personal space issue, I think. Yeah, don't
Yes.
start putting your hands all over somebody's face. Um, so we wander back up to the hallway of Chandler's office. The people are kind of the co-workers. I was going to write down their names and forgot, but they're kind of making fun of him at the water cooler. Um, did you note down their names? Because I think Chandler says all three of their names. And one was odd.
Um,
One stuck out to me as a very odd one.
Gersten, Santos, and then the guy with the mustache.
Right, okay, it was Gersten and Santos.
Petrie.
Santos. That's right. See, three
I
odd names.
imagine those are all last names, right?
That's true. That's Santos especially. You know, that gives us the clue, their last names. Yeah. But I kind of like the fact that he's just embracing who he is. He's not changing himself. If they don't like him just
Yes.
because he's the boss, so be it. So be it.
Yes. Some people
Um,
are going to be working this
this
weekend.
weekend, exactly. It's really well done. Um, so we go back over to the girls' apartment, and this is where Rachel's asleep on the couch. Where Kate shrewdly spotted that it was the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, as we've
She's
discussed in
so smart.
Bamboozled. She is. She's very smart. She is. Um, and Ross kind of puts the blanket on her, and she starts to have the dream about Ross.
Okay, can we just discuss
Yes.
that blanket and how
Is
completely pointless and stupid that blanket is? That did not help her be warm. That did not help anything.
It's not the
I'm just
same
saying.
blanket. I can't picture it. It's not the same one, is it, from when Chandler walks in and sees
With the
Rachel's
boobies?
top? Yes.
No.
Okay, it's not the same one.
No.
Okay.
No, it's this it's like an even lighter material. Like that one, it was like knitted, it had big thick material to it, just holes all over it because it was
Right.
knitted or the way it was crocheted or whatever. But no, this one was like a lacy, holy thing. Like it
What's the point?
the it was the only purpose of doing that was just so he could feel like he was doing something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like a
Like it's
placebo
so
blanket.
a kind
Yes.
gesture, but like what was the point? I
Right.
Other than to make him feel like he was doing something.
Yeah, I
But
can see that. I
anyway,
do.
that's just me being a hater. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, it's a blanket that doesn't really function as a blanket. It's not actually going to do
Oh,
anything.
no, that's just to look pretty on the back of the couch.
Right, a decorative one. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Now,
Sorry.
now
Yes.
Ross, no, you're
So
fine.
he
Now
puts
Ross is dancing on the
it.
table. I do enjoy that kind of celebration where
Yes.
he hops up there.
Yes. It was a very Chandler like thing to do.
That's what I thought. It's a very similar sort of behavior. Um,
Yes.
yeah, but then of course he falls off, and he is quite good with the sort of slapstick comedy that fall, like the physical comedy rather. I think he falls
Yes.
off very well. Um, and then yeah, him and Rachel, they start to have a moment where obviously she's very confused, and you know
Yes.
what's quite going on, and this could be a will they, won't they moment. But his pager goes off, and suddenly his life is about to change. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, suddenly it goes off. It's Carol. She's in labor, and everyone is about to get ready, as we discussed in Bamboozle, to get out in the hallway very, very slowly. Um,
Yes.
which I didn't think about that being kind of like a precursor to the one where nobody's ready. So I like that. Yeah, maybe they thought that scene was good, so decided to make a whole episode out of it. I don't know. That was good. But yeah, we kind of end up in the hallway with that really funny scene of everyone being the opposite of in a rush. You know, they're all taking their time, they're distracted by other things. But as you pointed out, I do love that they all go down the stairs, and that could have ended the show, be fine. But they take that minute just to look at Ross, who's internally absolutely panicking, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. He yeah, he's about to become a father. So all very exciting stuff, and that's how this episode ends. Um I do have some brand new information for you. Um Given that a lot of this is about ages, I thought I'd look up some information about the ages. So the actor who played Ethan. Oh, what
Wait,
do you have? What do you have?
no, sorry. I've been texting my parents, so now I know what I was talking about. But go ahead, and I'll share it then.
You know,
I'm
I
so
would
sorry.
love to hear it now, but let's save it for the end of the episode. We'll leave
Yes,
everyone on
yes,
a
yes.
cliff edge here. All right. So the actor who played young Ethan was a guy called Stan Kirsch, who again, unfortunately, is no longer with us. He was 27 at the time that this episode aired. This is
Thank goodness.
right. He is actually a year older than Jennifer Aniston and Matthew Perry. They were both born in 1969. I'm assuming he was born then in '68. But I thought that was really interesting. He's actually older. And Courtney Cox was 31 at the time this episode aired, which makes so she is 5 years. No, sorry. Let's see. Courtney Cox, yes, was 31. Monica was 26. That's right. I kind of scribbled all these notes down. Um, and then we kind of find out when Monica's birthday might be given, when this aired. But really, I just thought it was interesting. He was almost 27 and actually older than two of the stars on the show. Because I don't know, I can't decide if he looks really young or it's just we know him as young Ethan, and that's that.
Yeah, okay. What I feel 100% confident in saying is he does not look 17.
His hairline is not that of a 17-year-old.
Well, yes. And I was looking at my 17-year-old son, and, I'm like, that man is obviously older than him. And whenever you put my son with other 17-year-olds, like, he does not, oh, it's so sad. He doesn't have his little baby face anymore that makes
Oh
him look so
no.
young,
Oh no.
but yeah, like it was a stretch for him to be 17.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. And even just the way he carries himself and talks, like there's just no way
Mhm.
this guy's in high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, thought it'd be interesting just to look up kind of their real ages. Talk to me about your Gunther Central Park. Who did you like
All
in this
right.
one?
My Gunther Central perk for this episode is Phoebe.
No, I'd love to
Be-
hear why. Why Phoebe?
well, you know what? Because she was there. Just she was the good friend in this episode for me, for Chandler, and the way that she
Right,
helped support Chandler through this, because it's a change, right? Going
right.
from, a coworker to the boss, and she was kind about it and everything else, but she was very honest, and kind of pushed him to accept the fact that it's different now and your relationships are different now. In her wonderful Phoebe
Yes,
tough love kind of way. So
absolutely.
Phoebe. Hmm.
Now, I'm going to stick with my original choice, but you make a very good argument for Phoebe. Got to be said. But for sort of similar reasons, I'm going with Chandler because I thought he handled the
Okay.
situation pretty well. As we know on this podcast, I do love a good unhinged Chandler. He didn't go there. He didn't go down that road. He held it together. He realized it's
He
really
did.
not his fault. It's not him personally. He didn't actually do anything, and so he held it together. showed a lot of growth. So for that reason, similar to Phoebe, um, yeah, definitely Chandler from me. Now it's not Sunday morning anymore, it's Sunday afternoon, but we're imagining we're going to the coffee shop. How many cups of coffee are we going to have for this episode? Um,
7 and an
Seven.
espresso shot.
All right, all right.
So seven
So
and a half.
7.5. We're differing on this one. For me, I'm not that thirsty. We're going down to 6.
I was gonna say you
Yeah.
couldn't get past the ick.
I I couldn't get past the ick, and I always in my head what I'm learning about myself as we watch Friends. There's always, of course, the main storyline, then there's like a B plot, and sometimes even a third one. And for me, I preferred the Chandler and Phoebe kind of story arc with the office more than the main icky one. And even that wasn't that great. There was nice moments, but there was nothing really to it. So I figured it's not like a horrible episode by any means, but it's not going to get any more than a 6 from me because I could have done without getting it.
Wow.
Sticking with a
Okay.
sticking with a 6.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
there you go. Very good.
So
Oh,
that's it.
okay.
Hmm.
So can I tell you my mistake?
We are at that
I was,
point of the
I,
show. I would love to hear it.
all right. So it was not the bicentennial. There was a bicentennial quarter that I remember whenever that was came out,
Right?
and I remember trying to collect them. But the the covered wagon and all of that I remember that it went all around Texas for Texas's sesquicentennial celebration, which is 150 years, which was in
Yes.
1986.
86. I have that license plate up in my garage. I have a plate from
Well, there you
1986
go.
because it says that on it.
Sesquicentennial.
Yeah,
I hope I'm saying that correctly. I feel like I
I
am.
think so. I'm certainly not
But
going to correct you. Oh, I didn't tell you on Friends related notes. You remember a few weeks ago, we recorded an episode and we were talking about, and I've forgotten the name again, the little small vegetable appetizers that have a French name.
yes.
Do you
Mhm.
remember the French name?
No, but I can flip
No.
back.
Kate gave me such a hard time, and rightly so, because I anglicized it tremendously and pronounced it
Oh.
absolutely wrong. And then so did my sister, Sally, who will hopefully be
Oh
listening.
no.
Yeah, because of course she was completely right and I was completely wrong. But I and now the name has got it's the
It was
word.
it
No,
the one with
crudité.
the high guy or the
Yes,
Stones
yes.
guy?
It's not crudité, is it? That's something else. Um,
The coup d'etat?
crudité.
But
That's it.
that's not what it is. That's not what it
No.
is. But is that what you were thinking of?
Yeah, that must be
Uh
it.
okay, hang on. Hang on.
But
Nope,
it was
that's
very
the
fun.
one with the
I
booby.
don't think I'm gonna live this down.
Oh
Um,
no.
yes. It was not the Moose Bush. Suddenly it's disappeared.
Oh, it wasn't that?
It wasn't the Moose Bush. No, it
Uh-oh.
was it was the one with the poker. Because Joey
Oh.
says, you can only have snacks with like one syllable.
Oh yeah, chips. Or
Yeah,
yeah, chips,
Pret.
dips, and pretz.
Pretz, that's right. It was whatever she tried to serve. Um, it's suddenly gone on my head. Listeners are probably
Oh,
screaming.
dang.
What is it?
Oh no.
You know,
Mm.
we will find out for next week. But my sister rightly gave me a hard time about that. So, Sally, thank you for righting my wrongs and putting us back on the right
That's
track.
what big sisters are for. Way to go, Sally.
Sally is on it. Sally is the best.
Okay,
So,
give me just one sec.
all right, we have to know. Yes,
We do have to know.
yes. Well, while you're looking that up, I'll kind of float out that we have just 2 episodes left this season. Next will be the one with the birth, which we're very excited about. And after we've recorded these 2, we will be doing some kind of live season 1 trivia Zoom. We're not quite sure what it'll look like, but we want to have you guys involved. So if you've ever wanted to get involved with the podcast a little bit, be on an episode, you think you know all the French trivia there is to know, get in touch. You can hit us up through Instagram, of course. Just look up the Purple Door Podcast, or you can join the Purple Door Podcast group club um, on Facebook, because you can talk to us directly there. Let us know you're interested, and we'll share the link with you when it comes to that time. But it'll be probably 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll do that. But we're just going to have some fun. Like I said, do some trivia, talk about our favorite episodes. I have deliberately not added up who my favorite Gunther Central Parks are for the season. I haven't even looked to see where my rankings are, like what my favorite episode is, what my worst is. I haven't done any of that, and I'm going to wait until we're ready for the show to do that. And we'd love to have you guys on the Zoom to get your feedback, see what you love, what you don't love. But we'll do that in a few weeks. Wilson, do we have any luck finding out what that word
Yes,
is?
we do. So she served salmon roulette and assorted CRUDITES.
Crudité. Is it crudité? Because
Okay.
I
Because
think
we
I,
would have called it crudites because that's
yeah,
how it's spelled.
and that sounds like some kind of semi-precious gemstone, doesn't it? A
Right?
crudite. Yeah, but you're right. It's a crudité. Crudité. That's what it is. So again, thank you to not only Kate but to my dear sister Sally for righting my wrongs and steering me in the right direction in life in all sorts of ways. So, DeeAnn, do you have any final thoughts about this episode before we wrap this up?
Just one word. Ick.
And on that note, what a perfect way to end the podcast. Thank you guys all for listening to the Purple Door Podcast.